Nam mô Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear Sangha and all Dharma friends, right now it is the afternoon of the fourth day of the October 2025 retreat. It is time for us to share our experience and answer any questions that might have. For this method, we have to always practice. Doesn't matter what the obstacle is, we always have to ask the question and raise the doubt. The principle of Zen is from doubt to enlightenment. Only when we reach enlightenment, then we will be able to end all of the dreams, all of the suffering. Only when we get enlightened, then we will truly know who we are. Right now, in this dream, with such life full of suffering, we won't be able to know who we truly are. So in order to know who we are, we have to always practice. And the practice is to grow the doubt. And in order to have the doubt, we have to always ask the question. For example, before heaven and earth came into existence, what was I? The right Dharma has to end attachment. And to help our practice become effective, we need to have the belief in the mind, a strong belief in the mind. The more we believe, the more the practice, we will have experienced the good effect of the practice. Like Master Chukpom said, if we have 10 out 100% doubt, we will reach in 100% enlightenment. If we don't have the right belief, then our practice will also not right. And in order to strengthen the belief in the true mind, we have to always rely on the Buddha, the patriot, the wise teacher, the more seasoned practitioners to help us always maintain the belief in the true mind, or else we easily just believe in the duality, believe in the things outside of the mind. Like Master Tăng Sáng said, the true belief is non-dualistic. And belief in the mind is also ending attachment, meaning we need to have nothing to gain, nothing to seek, nothing to fear. If we still have the ego and all the things belong to the ego, that is not considered belief in the true mind, but that is still just the belief within the consciousness. And in order to have that belief, we have to always practice and seek out the learning. Following the rising principle from doubt to enlightenment. Whether it is the worldly dharma or the non-worldly dharma, everything is from doubt to enlightenment. For example, for the worldly matters, they also need to have the doubt to reach enlightenment. For example, the student, if he the more he learn, the more knowledge he will have. And if he has the virtue to serve the people and the nation, then he will benefit other people and the nation. But if he only want to benefit himself at the risk of other people, then even though he still reach achievement, but he he becomes something that is not beneficial to others. So beneficial versus non-beneficial in this case is just duality, and um, the feeling here we are talking about is suspicion, not the doubt. It within Patriot Zen, suspicion is in duality, while the doubt is transcending duality. So the right doubt is different from the suspicion. What is the doubt? We ask the question to raise the doubt. The doubt will take us to where there is no thought arise. This doubt sweep away all attachment, object of gaining and fearing, and that is considered the right doubt. And once the doubt is uninterrupted or 24/7, with no other thoughts being able to interrupt the doubt, then we will arrive at the Hoa Thou. And that doubt, once it's uninterrupted, it will cut through present, future, and the past. And the moment where we awake from the consciousness, that is where we reach enlightenment. This explanation is to help us learn how to practice. Right now, anybody have any question about the practice? You can bring up your question. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.
Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Con kính bạch trên quý thầy, quý sư cô cùng toàn thể.
Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, dear Thầy, dear Sangha, and all practitioners. I would like to repent with you when you talk. Give the Dharma talk, I realize that I also violate the precepts. I will try to be more strict with myself and maintain the practice more uninterruptedly. There are not that many days left for this retreat. I would like to ask about a practice. My mind, when I first learned about the way, I saw that impermanence happens very quickly. And then I start raising the mind to study, to learn the way. I went through lots of ups and downs. I get carried away by life for many years, and very difficult for me to keep the doubt in mind. When I raised the mind to become a monastic, I also saw the impermanence, and I try to practice. But this thought recently, I don't see it happen again. I don't see this thought recently, but in my mind, it keep raising the sentence that I used to ask you about. I remember the sentence that the sixth patriarch usually said. And this sentence keep showing up in my mind and push me forward, make me feel like I don't want to put down the practice. But the habits, my habits still, when I face the external condition, I still lose the practice. And when I realize it, I come back and ask the question, could you please give me some advice? Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. This kind of feelings a lot of us experience nowadays. We raise the mind to practice Zen, raise the mind to become a monastic, raise the mind to practice the Dharma of liberation because of impermanence, because we witness our family members each pass away, and we saw the examples of the people around us spending their life caring for their family, for their career, for their material wealth, and at the end they have to leave very fast, bringing with them lots of afflictions and suffering, and there is a highly chance that in the future lives it will repeat again. From there we reflect on ourselves. What should we do? Are we going to be doing the same thing? You know, growing up, go to work, getting married, have kids, and then keep repeat that from life to life. A, a family member in this life become an enemy in the future life, and then the enemy in this life become a family in the future life. All of these karmic relationship overlaps one another to the point where we don't even know who we really are. We just follow the karmic energy to to take over this body, whether this body is healthy or sick, whether this body is of a male or female. Everything is because of karma. And when we realize that, we want to practice on liberation, but then our karmic habits still control us. We get controlled by our sick body. We get controlled by our mind full of desires that create a lot of obstacles on our practice, as well as in our living with others. The Buddha realized that sentient beings are very stubborn when it comes to all of these things, and that's why he came up with the rules, the precepts to keep a harmonious community. But even though he came up with a lot of different skillful means, there's still a lot of fighting within the community. There was a retreat during that time at the Gosami city. Even the Buddha was there. People still fighting over one another. and the Buddha just quietly, the Buddha just quietly carry his bowl into the forest and live there for 3 months. And nobody could find where the Buddha is, and they were worried about him. And there was an elephant, an old elephant, also went into the forest and met the Buddha. And the Buddha was asking the old elephant. The old elephant also said his group of elephant also fighting. And he had to go away. And then after that, they saw the old monkey also visit them. And the same thing happened to the group of the monkey. The group was fighting, and they couldn't stand it, so they had to come into the forest to get some peace. And the elephant and the monkey feel very happy to see the Buddha. So the world always have this harmony, and therefore the Buddha left the Sangha at the time so that the bhikkhus can realize their mistake. And by that time, Mục Kiền Liên had to use his superpower to find the Buddha. And after that, the seasoned master came to ask the Buddha to come back. And the Buddha said, everybody need to follow the rules and the precepts, so that there is no fighting. If we keep fighting, then the Sangha will fall apart. And the Buddha gave an example of the water and the milk. We need to have the rules to harmonize the differences. And during the Buddha time, he came up with the rules to protect the community, but the community still take those rules for granted. Same thing for our community, because of our attachment and ignorance. We don't want to get along with others. We don't want to accept the bad habits of other people. We don't want to use the 6 rules of harmony to live well with each other, but instead we fight over all of the little things. And unintentionally, we trigger a lot of ignorance, desire, and attachment, and making our own, making us to lose our own practice. So for us, we have to rely on the Sangha to practice. If we don't follow the Sangha but only want to be on our own, the Buddha said a monastic leaving the Sangha will not get anywhere, just like a tiger leaving his group. He won't live well, because that person will just live based on his own ideas without any rules. It's very difficult for that person to maintain the practice, and they will be easily to control by all of the impurities. and not being able to reach liberation. Therefore, the Buddha always advised to stay within the Sangha, and the Sangha have to be harmonious, and we have to respect the Sangha. The one of the most serious mistake is to disrupt the Sangha, disharmonize Sangha. The Sangha include bhikshu, bhikshuni, the male and female lay Buddhists. Like include different types of Buddhists, and a Sangha should be pure and rely on one another to practice liberation. Then that will be considered one of the three jewels. If each of the person just live based on what they want and keep fighting and getting mad, then there won't be any harmony. And if is no harmony, then there will not be any purity. And if there is no purity, eventually that Sangha will come to an end. So always practice, focus on the practice, following your wish, your original wish, and help one another to overcome all of the difficulties and challenges in order for us to eventually reach achievements. We have a great condition to know Zen. Therefore, we have this temple to focus solely on meditation. If not, we might be at somewhere else at another temple that do all kinds of practice instead of focus on meditation, and those sangha might have more disharmony. So appreciate these conditions and improve your practice. So to lift up this atmosphere, so hopefully after some laugh, people can start asking about the practice again. I heard you said in Tao, if we don't follow the Sangha, especially during the retreat, if we don't being careful, did you say then that would be considered like an enemy? When I think about this, I feel like for me, uh, she just said something funny to help everybody to get some laugh. And she said she's still not practiced very well, so she doesn't have that many questions yet. In the sutras, the Buddha also talk about this term. This term is about the enemy within Buddhism. When if we realize that we are doing this kind of thing, we have to try to fix our mistake. And Hưng has asked about the two sutras of thầy Nguyệt Khê in Do we have it in Chinese version? Thầy said yes, there is Chinese version. Any of the books that our lay master will be translate, there is an English, a Chinese version, but we have to look for it. But it looks like all of his books are also have a Chinese version. He said, if you can find a Chinese version, can I get a copy? Dear Thầy, dear everyone, Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. When we practice, we normally face other things that go against our liking, and normally we tend to get dragged by those things and lose our practice. Usually we put our own ideas when we face other things and we consider them right or wrong, and then we will lose our practice. I feel like the events normally don't go against our own idea, but our idea normally create obstacles to the things that happen. Normally the thing that happen is very normal, but because we put our ideas in those those events, that's why we make such a big deal out of very little thing and lose our practice without knowing. And in order to use these ideas, we can only go back to the practice, and when we practice, then those ideas and those thoughts will gradually die down, and we don't feel so challenged by the things around us. So everything go back to practice. Beside the practice, there's nothing else. So Zen practitioners, if we keep letting things around us affect us, that means that we put our ideas into the things around us, and by doing that, we challenge our own practice. So that is something I want to share. I hope you can give me further advice. Thank you, Thầy. Your feedback is completely accurate. If we look from the perspective of teaching of the Buddha, it is fantastic. For example, when we talk about the mountain or the river, they don't have the intention to create an obstacle for us, but because we cannot pass through them, that's why we consider them as obstacles. Same thing, people around us, they have their own business, we have our own business. um, uh, we should not get into each other business, and then blame each other, that we create challenges for each of us. The Buddha has this special thing. If we want to practice liberation, the Buddha give out the pure action for anyone who want to practice liberation, and anybody want to reach liberation, then the monastics can follow those dharmas, like the sangha, for the first 12 years when they followed the Buddha, there was no rules, there were no precepts at all. And because they want to practice liberation, the Buddha give out such actions to help them reach liberation. But when the Sangha get bigger, then they start come disharmony. And because of the conditions the Buddha come up with, the precepts, he didn't push it on anyone. He come up with those precepts because of what happened. And depending on the conditions, whether it's raw or subtle, the Buddha have to create raw and subtle precepts to help create harmony within the Sangha. For example, there was a story when Master Ananda and some of the Bhikshu was walking in the city and met the leader of another school of practice, and he just passed away. His disciples were fighting and arguing a lot, and Master Ananda at the time start sweating and said, "Oh, our world honor one is about to enter Nirvana. If we don't have any come up with any rules, then the Sangha could fall apart after he enter Nirvana." And he come back and told the Buddha, and that's why the Buddha come up with the last 7 rules to protect the Sangha. So anything that the Buddha come up with is with the intention to help people practice liberation, not to constrain or force anybody. For example, when you take refuge in the three jewels, you do it on your own terms. We don't force you to take refuge in the three jewels. And when and also when you raise the mind to practice meditation, you come to this temple, you follow the rules to help, tackle your common habits to overcome yourself. And therefore, if we want to enter the three jewels, we have to follow the rules of the Buddha. If we want to enter the temple to practice liberation, we have to follow the rules of the patriots. Without the precepts and the rules, we won't be able to practice even if we want to, because our habits tend to lead us to become rebellious. But we can attach to the theory, or else the theory will become an obstacle to the event. Same thing, we should not attach to the precepts. The Buddha created precepts to help everybody practice liberation, but then some people use that precepts to go against another, and from there they create a lot of disharmony and make the Sangha fall apart. And that's why we have a lot of multiple assembly in the past to compile all of the sutras, because even if there's one person that it is this harmony within the Sangha, then we cannot pass through the the sutras. So the Buddha also come up with more skillful means. For example, asking some of the people go to different places and recite the precepts until they get harmonious and then come back to the temple. So we try our best to be harmonious within the Sangha, even though any other person does not follow. So if we understand the precepts, we will understand how to practice clearly. For anyone else. In the Bodhisattva precepts, it talked about the enemies within Buddhism.